Hello and welcome to today's webinar with Quantum and our Platinum partner, Advanced Systems Group, LLC, also known as ASG. Today we are going to discuss technologies relating to corporate video. We will show you solutions and use cases for small, medium, and large businesses who utilize our technology and services relating to their corporate video needs. On this webinar, we'll discuss topics like what is corporate video, workflows going global, rich media everywhere, why StoreNext, and ASG will talk about their company, their services, and their partnership with Quantum, and show us some very unique use cases for small, medium, and large corporate video clients with companies like the LDS Church, Yahoo, and others. I'm very excited to have tremendous speakers on this webinar today. From Quantum, we have Mitchell Moody, who is our Regional Sales Manager in Northern California. And we also have Jordan Winkleman, our talented Solutions Architect at Quantum. And they will be covering Quantum and dive deep into corporate video solutions. We then have Dave Van Hoy, who's the President of ASG, our Platinum partner, and a great friend to us here at Quantum. And we also have Tyler Berry, who is the Territory Manager for ASG, who is also a great friend of Quantum's. Tyler will give you an overview, or Dave and Tyler will give you an overview of their company and discuss a few exciting use cases for corporate video. So I want to welcome all of you you gentlemen, to today's webinar.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
You there? You're welcome.
All right, this is Mitchell Moody. Again,
hold on, I'm not done yet, Mitchell. Mitchell, hang on, I'm not done yet. Let me go through a few other things. First, when asking a question, I'm going to ask the audience to use the chat button that's at the top right-hand corner of your screen to ask your questions. Please select all panelists, not an individual person. This will ensure your question is being viewed, and I will moderate them as they come into us, and I will ask the presenters your question at the time it was sent in, or during the transition from one slide to the next, or at the end of today's webinar. So please use that chat button at the top right-hand corner to ask your questions. And don't be shy, ask away, please. And we are also giving away some exciting gifts, so please stick around to the end of today's webinar to see what we're giving away to our few audience members. And by the way, our webinar is expected to last at least 30 to 45 minutes maximum. We want to leave plenty of time to answer your questions at the end of our webinar. With that said, I'm going to hand the presentation over to our first speaker of the day, Mitchell Moody from Quantum, for a brief overview of Quantum. With that, Mitch, take it away.
All right, thanks, Dave. I really appreciate that. And hello and good morning to all the folks on the call. We're not going to make this a really marketing call. We're really going to give you an opportunity to understand the nuts and bolts of our video and digital assets solutions from Quantum and ASG. For those of you who may be familiar with Quantum or vaguely remember Quantum, and you may be thinking of Quantum in the idea of tape drives, Quantum is the #1 solution provider for media management and storage for media and entertainment environments. And I say that because a lot of folks really don't understand the solutions that we provide with StoreNext. And in terms of not only media and entertainment, but we also offer those solutions across the board through many different business verticals, whether it's genomics or oil and gas. We have a really encompassing and successful solution that a lot of folks really don't know a lot about. And what we're doing today on the webinar today is to really enlighten you about our solutions and some of our key partners like ASG that help implement and integrate those solutions in your environments. For those of you who may or may not know, in media and entertainment, we are the #1 solution provider. We are in all of the large studios. We're in the 4 largest broadcast networks and we have over 100,000 StorNext licenses deployed out in the marketplace. So if you have any questions, if you are a legacy solution from Xsan and you're looking to move forward to StorNext, or you want to get into more details about StorNext, please feel free to ask questions of Jordan and Dave Van Hoy at ASG. This is a really, really good solution that has enabled a number of customers to be successful and continue to grow in their environments. Just to give you a little snapshot of some of the customers that we're supporting. Obviously, there's a lot more customers than this, but this will give you the idea about the types of customers that StorNext and Quantum and ASG are supporting. We're going to get a little bit more in a little more detail. I'm going to pass it over to Jordan Winkelman, who will talk to you a little bit about the nuts and bolts of StorNext and the Quantum solution. Jordan, are you ready?
Hey, Mitchell, real quick, can I ask you a question that just came in? Then we'll pass it over to Jordan. The question is, we are a small corporate productions team with 4 editors. Can we afford Quantum?
And the answer is yes, you can. Quantum is very flexible with starter or getting started or low-cost solutions to get off the ground with, right? So we could get in early with you, provide a cost-effective solution for you that can give you the performance and the ability to grow in a very cost-effective solution. So the answer to that question, Dave, is yes. We can, and our partner, Dave Van Hoy and ASG, can very easily help you get started, give you the necessary not only products and services, but also training if needed to get started and get rolling with StorNext in your environment.
Great. Thanks, Mitchell. And definitely hand it over to Jordan now. Take it away, Jordan.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jordan Winkelman. I'm the StorNext Solutions Architect for Northern California and Nevada. And as we brought up, we're here to talk about corporate video today. So what is corporate video? The easiest way to describe corporate video is to look at it as internal marketing information for your business. It could be all-hands meetings that are being broadcast to all your offices globally, live event spaces for other types of live event production, whether it be concerts, shareholders meetings, things of the like, and also for internal corporate training materials for making your business move forward. And Quantum internally uses corporate video as a way to train our own sales staff and people like me on the new products that we make and sell on a day-to-day basis. Key trends that we're seeing in the corporate video world are workflows going global. We have a lot of customers that require multi-site collaboration, and with those needs, they take and use technologies like media asset management systems to help manage their workflow needs in studio and on set. Rich media is everywhere, and StorNext is one of the top platforms for creating and managing the rich media that you're creating. And we're creating that content pretty much everywhere you can imagine, whether it be ad agencies that are working internally or externally, broadcast and film, as Mitchell brought up, over-the-top services. So think mobile viewing of video on your iPad or your iPhone or Android device, or take your pick. Online retailers. A lot of people don't recognize that there's video used even for selling clothes on the internet, where maybe the model turns and you can see exactly how the clothes fit on that model. As I mentioned, corporate training videos, so live event web broadcasts, town halls, internal marketing training. And Quantum is also in quite a few of other markets out there, like high-performance computing, surveillance, life sciences, and geospatial and seismic type environments. So if you're looking for video storage that does more than just provide capabilities for your internal marketing, we also work in quite a few markets outside of just the traditional video space. And here's some information about rich media in video by the numbers. I don't want to read the slides, but the high level is video is really the one of the best ways of differentiating your marketing message to your customers above and beyond just a static picture or a static website. And why Quantum? As Mitchell brought up, Quantum's a 35-year-old data management company. We're the biggest name in tape, and still sell about 35% of the tape backup libraries in the world. We're an enterprise-class storage company that has been helping large enterprises manage and protect their data for 35 years. And there's definitely exabytes and possibly even zettabytes of archive managed by StorNext out there in the world. Why StorNext? Well, StorNext is one of the top solutions at high-performance shared workflows. So in the corporate video use case, you would have a number of video editors, 5, 10, 15, something like that, all sharing the same storage and the same content on that storage so that they can produce in collaborative workflows in a much tighter time frame without having multiple copies of the data flowing around your network. The system is near infinitely scalable in terms of capacity and performance, and multi-protocol. We can work over fiber channel, Ethernet, or NAS protocols like SMB or NFS. One of the most amazing capabilities of StorNext is its policy-based tiered storage and archive. What I mean by this is video's big, takes up a lot of space on your storage, and when you're done working with it, you want it to be easily retrievable and available to your editors, but at the same point, you don't want a 2 terabyte video file taking up space that nobody's accessing. So our file tiering system will automatically data protect your content to tape, the cloud, on-premise disk storage, off-site tape storage, take your pick, and we automatically move that data onto those tiers of storage. So give you a couple copies of tape, one to keep on site, one to send off site, and if an end user needs to recover that content, they simply double-click on an empty file called a file stub, and StorNext automatically goes and retrieves that data from wherever it's available. We have integrated cloud capabilities, whether it be public or private cloud. We did not recreate the wheel, and we make use of existing public cloud infrastructure to store your data in the most economic manner in the cloud. We provide private cloud capabilities through a technology called object storage, which we use for our extended online workflows. And these policies can also be time-based as well as capacity-based, so based on the size of the file and when you last accessed that file. One of the other really big features about why StorNext is there's a small company that licensed our product and put a pretty wrapper around it and called it Xdan. So if you've got Mac clients in your environment, well, then you already have the license to connect to a StorNext storage environment, and it uses native capabilities built right into your Mac workstations. Here's kind of a high-level overview of what an architecture would look like. Starting in the upper left-hand corner, you have Axelis, which is our workflow directors, which the traffic cop manages where your data is, whether it's on the high-performance disk or on a secondary tier like Lattice Object Storage. You have a variety of different types of clients, whether they be fiber channel SAN clients or Xdan clients, or Ethernet clients like StorNext DLC and NAS clients connecting over a lower performing but usually very suitable technology, typically for laptop users and viewers of the content as opposed to creators. And then maybe you're transcoding, whether it's live event production content or for web delivery to YouTube or Vimeo or Hulu, or take your pick of which online streaming service. And off to the right, we have our archive and data protection tiers, whether using the corporate LAN, the QCloud, which is Quantum's public cloud infrastructure, or the Lattice Object Storage system that would be considered a private cloud infrastructure. And that's it from a corporate video perspective. And now I'm going to hand over to Dave Van Hoy at ASG.
Hey, Jordan, this is Dave. I have a question that came in for you. Jordan, how long does it take to install StorNext?
Depending on the complexity of the environment, it can take less than 24 hours to rack, stack, and install the system. And our partner, Advanced Systems Group, does a great job and has literally hundreds of StorNext environments out there in the world.
All right, great. So with that, we're going to hand it over to Mr. Dave Van Hoy with ASG, Advanced Systems Group.
Thank you, Dave. And thank you for everybody attending today. Advanced Systems Group has been around 18 years now. We started, there were 4 of us, and today we're lucky enough to have about 122 employees in many sites around the country and around the world. We're a technology company that specializes in supporting creatives in all kinds of environments, and certainly in the corporate environment has been a very large part of what we do. We have offices in Southern California, New York City, and the Pacific Northwest, and we serve many, many different markets. As a company, we do a great deal of different things, storage systems and MAM integration being a very large part of it. And we have many, many years of experience. As Jordan said, we've literally installed hundreds of systems. Our company today is 6 working groups of folks, and we have a team that does design, engineering, and consulting work, and that is in many different areas. It includes system design, acoustics, space planning, almost anything you would need to do to build a working facility. And this team is completely independent. They're vendor independent. They're not there to sell equipment or do anything else. They are engineers from the industry, and their job is to take people's vision and turn it into buildable things. Then we have a large team that's field and support services. These are the folks who do deployments that Jordan was mentioning. There's 13 of them trained in StorNext, one of the largest StorNext teams in the country. And we've deployed hundreds of systems. This team does break fix, it does deployment, it does training. They're super folks, and they're very, very good at what they do. We have a team that does integration and installation. So we build out facilities, as one can imagine. It can be as small as a single edit bay or as big as an entire campus. We are also act as a value-added reseller, and we work with many, many vendors, Quantum being one of our largest and longest trusted vendors, to find the right products for our clients. Our focus is always on finding the right thing, not selling a thing. And we've been in the industry for many, many decades, and we believe that our biggest value to you is to be a good, responsible partner and make sure that you're successful. We own a software company called DiaQuest. DiaQuest has been around 32 years, and most of our work in the DiaQuest world is OEM, meaning we write software that ends up in other people's stuff. But we also provide some products on a retail basis, and we do a lot of custom integration. Our current retail products available on the DiaQuest website include products like Production Link, which allows you to take a Premiere seat and put it on to an Avid system and have it be an equal partner with a media composer. A lot of the work we do is custom work. So if you have an application where you might have a new MAM that you want to deploy, but you have an existing business system that operates part of your workflow, such as Farmer's Wife or something like that, and you would like to have a tie between them so you're not having to double enter data, those are the kinds of projects we do very commonly. On the OEM side, we work with some of the biggest names in our industry, including Adobe and AJA and Avid, all of which, if you've used any of those products, you've probably used some of our code. And then one of our largest teams is managed services and staffing. We've been lucky enough to have many of our clients ask us to not only help them build and maintain their facilities, but maintain them on a consistent basis and in many cases operate them. One of the things we're very proud of is some of our clients where we actually operate entire facilities, which is not the norm. Normally we're part of a team. But if you've ever encountered any of the YouTube spaces, most of the folks you'll see who are there helping you do a production are folks who work for Advanced Systems Group. And one of our clients today that we'll be speaking about, in fact, we actually staff and operate the studio that I'll be talking about. Our philosophy is always about helping you be successful. That's our focus. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that if our clients aren't successful, they probably can't come back and do more projects with us. So we're always focused on doing the right thing for you as our client. It is the most important thing we do. Make sure that we look at what it's going to cost to operate things, what's the right tool, and give you, hopefully, unbiased, clear information so that you can make the best decisions for yourselves. We focus in the digital world on archiving, asset management, and backup solutions. We have a large footprint with hundreds of systems, which gives us lots and lots of experience, which hopefully helps you make the best decisions and also helps your systems keep running. We do a lot of production workflow design. We have literally thousands of man-years of experience in the company now, and we try to make sure that we leverage that knowledge to help our clients find the best ways to do things. As you can imagine, we design a lot of audio and video editing workflows, and we work a lot in animation and compositing workflows. For many years here in Northern California where we started, there were some of the coolest visual effects shops in the world, and now, of course, we have some of the coolest animation shops, and it's given us an opportunity to build technical depth in a lot of different things that a lot of different VARs don't really get the opportunity to do very often. And we do, of course, studio designs. It's one of our favorite things to do. Nobody gets to do it all that often because only so many studios get built every year. But our team has built literally hundreds, and we are very good at working across all kinds of budgets and all kinds of capabilities to find the right thing. I worked my way through college and high school fixing equipment and as a field engineer. So our focus is very much on knowing what we're doing and making sure that we do a good job for you guys. So on this slide is a few of the certifications that our team has currently, and we spend literally hours and hours and tens of thousands, and in some cases hundreds of thousands of dollars, making sure that all of our technical teams, both sales, field deployment, engineering, are up to speed on all of the latest technologies. Our customers range across a very wide type. Today we're going to talk about corporate customers and some of their applications, but we work in many different areas. We've worked with corporate video for as long as the company has existed. Here in Northern California, we're lucky to get to work with a fair number of internet media companies. We work a lot in education, and one of our greatest achievements these last years has been being able to be a partner and work with the USC Annenberg School of Journalism, and we were tasked with the design of all of the technology in their new $58 million journalism and communications building. So we're very proud of the fact that we're able to help train the next generation of people who will be creating content. We, of course, work in broadcast, and that's an ever-changing business and includes call letter stations, networks, sports teams. And we also, especially in our Los Angeles and New York offices, have a great deal of ties into some of the big media companies that we often think of as film studios, although I was having a discussion with a client yesterday and we were wondering why we still call them film. But I guess that's where we all started.
Hey, Dave, I have a question that just came in real quick.
Yes.
It looks like you have a lot of very large customers, and this person's asking, I'm a small shop of 4 people. would ASG be somebody that I could work with?
Absolutely, and I should have mentioned that. Our clients range literally from a person working in their living room with a MacBook Pro to cut a documentary to very large film studios, as you saw in that slide. We tend to talk about the big stuff because everybody goes, ooh, but we love small customers, and we've done it our whole careers. Everybody starts someplace, and we're very proud that some of our customers who started very small are now very big. And we always take that time. And as a matter of fact, one of the things I think we're especially good at because of our history in shared storage across these last 18 years is working with small work groups, finding cost-effective solutions that you can get started, and trying to keep an eye down the road so that if you're lucky and things fall in the right place and you get to grow, that the things that we've done at the beginning hopefully scale and allow you to keep growing without having to go through multiple forklift upgrades, which are just not fun and disruptive.
Great. Thanks, Dave.
So we're very lucky. We get to work with some very, very cool vendors and technology companies that do tremendous things. This slide has a few of our partners that help us build these ecosystems across all kinds of different things. Quantum has been one of our partners for almost 15 years now, and we were lucky to meet them through Apple in the early days of Xsan when the Apple team introduced us to their technology partner, which was Quantum. Why would you want to work with us? And that last question from Dave was a good leading question. We believe that we have some of the most experienced teams in the entire industry. And because we work across so many different areas, and especially including the managed services teams, we get a tremendous amount of hands-on with the technology with our clients. It's one thing to read spec sheets or go to sales presentations. It's another to actually put your hands in it and make the stuff work every day. Our folks are very highly skilled and trained, and most importantly, dedicated people. Many of our folks have been in the industry for more than 30 years, supporting creatives, and that is just an invaluable wealth of knowledge and problem solving and helping you hopefully make the best decisions. We like to think we're a trusted advisor, and clearly some of our clients have put us in that role, and we're very, very proud of that, and it's important that we always do a good job. We try to be very budget conscious. We recognize we're a business just like you guys, and what things cost and the total cost of operation is important to understand. And it's always important to find a technology solution that works in the scale of your budget, because otherwise there's no reason to do it. And lastly, we have more than 350 quantum-based SANs and storage systems out in the field that we've built across these years. We have a tremendous footprint, which gives our field team an amazing breadth of knowledge. When the question came in about how long it takes to set one up, and Jordan said 24 hours, it's often less than that, depending upon what the size of what we're doing is, because we've done it so many times. And we have a great feel for what works and what doesn't, and how to help you guys get going quickly. One of our customers that I wanted to talk about today is somebody who's certainly been in the news plenty, is Yahoo. Yahoo is one of the most prolific producers of video content on the web today. It's a very big part of their business, and actually a very money-making part of their business. They create over 40 hours of original content a week, which makes them bigger than many television networks. We were chosen approximately 4 years ago to help them uplift all of their studios on the data infrastructure side, come up with shared storage that could work both locally and a methodology to share it across their 3 facilities that are quite geographically dispersed. In addition, they needed asset management because it's a lot of stuff to keep track of, especially across multiple sites. This slide probably is pretty hard to see on the webinar, but it gives you an idea of the breadth of the system and how it interconnects between the sites. At each site, there's a local SAN that is used for production every day. Not only is it used for editorial, for motion graphics and compositing, but they do live ingest. They actually do live switched television production. So each SAN has multiple ingest systems that are recording video, in some cases the output of switchers, in other cases ISOs, directly to storage so that it can head to post-production very quickly. As you may know, of course, they have Yahoo News and their finance and sports teams, and these are all very topical. And the turnaround on these things is hours and minutes, just like a news operation. They also have a lot of history. Yahoo, as a provider of media on the internet, was one of the early pioneers. They have a huge library of especially music and entertainment content that goes back almost 20 years. So archiving was an important part of this and how to share things across these different systems. So using the Quantum systems as the primary storage, we also used Storage Manager, which Jordan was describing, which is one of the most sophisticated hierarchical storage managers, or HSMs, built to manage what content lives on what tier of storage and in which locations tied into their asset management system, which is PrimeStream's Fork product. They're highly integrated, and from within the Fork user interface, they can archive and de-archive assets that, in fact, go all the way back from even their New York location to an archive that lives in Sunnyvale. And all of that is managed by StorNext.
Hey, Dave, a question just came in I want to ask you.
Yes.
How difficult is it to expand the system when we need more space?
It's one of the great things about StorNext. StorNext is a tremendously scalable system. It can scale in terms of size. It can scale in terms of bandwidth. Because its connection to the clients can be either fiber channel or Ethernet, you can also manage how your connectivity works. So expanding the system can happen in two different ways. If we need to just add more storage, the pool needs to get bigger, you can add blocks of storage either with more controllers, more RAID controllers, or just as JBOD's expanding on existing controllers. And the expansion is seamless. It does require a few minutes of downtime at some point in the process as the storage is integrated in, but it's pretty easy to do. You can also expand the system in terms of bandwidth by adding more chassis at block level with RAID controllers, and you can grow the speed of the system tremendously. We have StorNext systems that range from 4 seats running highly compressed XDCAM workflows to systems with dozens of seats and running uncompressed EXR frame-based workflows where the spec was that we had to deliver over 9 gigabytes a second, not gigabits, gigabytes a second. So the system's very straightforward to expand.
Great. Thanks, Dave. I just want to do a quick time check. We have about 10 minutes left, then we get some more questions. So go ahead, Dave.
Perfect. So with this, I'd like to hand off to one of our team who manages the territory that goes out through Colorado and out through Utah, who has a great use case he wants to speak to you about. Tyler?
Thank you, Dave. Good morning, everyone. So in the essence of time, I'll do my best to keep this brief, but touch on some of the important points. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, also known as the LDS Church, has a pretty big worldwide footprint, as it says here. You can see they have 15 million members, 30,000 congregations, and 188 published languages. The media outlets that they're currently pushing things out through are the Motion Picture Studio. It was created in 1953. They create feature films there, shorts, ads, and a number of other media projects. They do worldwide broadcasts a couple times a year. They have live event productions and also TV and radio. On top of that, the campus at BYU there in Provo, Utah, has a broadcasting center which houses 5 TV channels and 2 radio stations. So they've become quite the media giant. I want to show you just a brief overview of the bulk of their media originates in the Salt Lake Valley, there in Salt Lake in Provo, Utah. And this is just a few of the locations that they're generating this content or using it in some manner. We began working with the church. It's kind of an interesting relationship. The way it began was we were asked about a quantum deployment. They had seen the need for, particularly at the Motion Picture Studio, for more robust storage. And so quantum was a natural fit for them. They decided to move forward with that. And simultaneously, we're working with another integrator that they had a relationship with, and due to some just random and interesting confusion that occurred, they were working with us at the same time on 2 different projects, unbeknownst to them. And when it was discovered, they decided to give us a shot at it. They heard a lot of great things about the work we do with quantum. And so we deployed the system, and the results were fantastic. They were thrilled with what we'd done. And when they saw the results, the way we conduct business and the knowledge our field techs possess, they gave us all of their quantum business from that point forward. So we have deployed a number of systems throughout the region and multiple locations throughout the organization. A couple of interesting things, just to give you an idea of the breadth of what they do. Twice a year, they have what's called General Conference, and typically on a Sunday, the members will go to their local church buildings. Well, on the 2 times a year they do General Conference, they have a conference center. You can see at the top middle of the screen there labeled CCB. Holds approximately 21,000 people, and they will also broadcast from that location to 7,000 church buildings in 96 countries, and then another approximately 600,000 households in North America on DirecTV, Dish, Comcast, and other providers. They have 5 2-hour sessions over a 2-day period, and incredibly enough, these 5 sessions generate 17,000 files in 96 different languages, and all of that's done in just 36 hours. And so you can imagine with that on top of everything else they're doing, you're creating an enormous amount of assets that they have to maintain. And a big concern of theirs, as well as how do we store these, how do we back them up and keep them. And so they have a very robust and large archive and backup solution that's very bandwidth intensive. And a problem that they had run into is if those systems do not get filed as fast as they need them, then they can blue screen and it will halt the entire process, which causes bottlenecks in the workflow. And StorNext was the perfect fit for them. They were able to build out a very robust storage pool, which can scale easily as their needs grow, and it's fast enough to provide those systems with enough data to where the blue screen issues are completely resolved and their workflow continues very efficiently. Just to touch on a few sites real quick, in the top left, you have the Motion Picture Studio. It's a pretty traditional production and post-production workflow. They have many editorial workflows there with Final Cut, Avid, and Adobe, finishing suites with Resolve and Flame, and then audio suites with Pro Tools and other professional audio tools in there. And so the StorNext SAN that runs the bulk of that is working fantastic. It was a pretty easy fit since StorNext has been doing that for quite some time. But at certain sites, we didn't have any physical access. And so the value we're able to add with the knowledge our field techs possess, they can actually go through and help walk people through the process while not even being in the same room. We had on this particular project, one of our very talented, handsome and charming field services techs stood everything up next door and then walked them through the deployment process over the phone. And it went off without a hitch. And I think it is a good example of what we're able to do in the non-conventional deployments as well. And then in the lower right-hand corner, we have the Granite Mountain Vault, where our tech actually deployed a system inside of a mountain, which he said was a pretty interesting experience and one he had not done before. But the church has been very happy with the systems deployed and also with the level of support they've gotten from ASG and Quantum together. They love Quantum. We're speaking about Lattice, which is Quantum's object storage, as well as QCloud deployments now at their facilities. And they love Quantum because StorNext can handle anything they throw at it. They like ASG because we know StorNext and we understand complex digital media workflows. We're one of a handful of authorized software service providers with Quantum, and as Dave mentioned prior, we deployed hundreds of SANs. And so basically the bottom line is whatever the workflow may be, odds are we've seen it, can make recommendations to make it more efficient and cost effective. And that is all I have, Dave. I'll go ahead and pass it back to you.
Thank you, Tyler. And we will hop quickly through our last use case here. So interestingly enough, you saw NetApp on the partners slide as one of our vendors. NetApp is also a client of ours. They have a multi-camera studio that they use for media production every day. They use it to create high-value production material for messaging to employees, as Jordan was speaking about, where Quantum uses video to help train him. They use it to make customer-facing marketing materials. They capture live events in some of their meeting rooms and post-produce them, and they make materials to support their executive briefing center. And we were actually integral. We designed and built and implemented all of this facility. And in addition, through our managed services team, we're lucky enough to supply most of the people who actually work in this facility. So this is their very newly completed rebuild of their control room. It's a multi-camera studio. And then they have a large green screen where they actually are very successfully deploying using virtual sets and have a system from a company called Hybrid that is amazing in terms of how it tracks things in 3D. And, of course, in the middle, you can see there is a StorNext workflow controller and NetApp Disk, which, of course, they build. This system is used every day and to build hundreds of pieces of media that are used all over the company, and started very small as it was a small team and has grown to be quite large now. So with that, I will turn it back over to Dave for some questions and answers and information on how you'll win. You might win your prize.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. If you can either just advance the slide for me.
You bet. And then I'll hand it over to you.
All right, great. So we're going to be doing a raffle drawing for everybody who attended today's webinar. We're going to be giving away 2 American Express gift cards to 2 of our lucky attendees. We'll contact you via email and phone, and it's a $50 gift card. So we really appreciate your attendance today. I'm going to ask a few questions of our panelists, so hang with us. And feel free to continue to ask questions via our chat button so that you can get your questions asked. Now is a great time to ask those questions. Tyler, you talked about kind of a dispersed environment. How difficult is it to expand the system when we need more space? Tyler,
that's one of the beautiful. Yeah, sorry about that mute button. That's one of the beautiful things about StorNext is it can easily be expanded by adding additional chassis to it. The file system expands pretty seamlessly. You can have a tech go out there or even remotely expand that system. And we've done that, and that's really our method of deployment for most of our clients is we start small for budgetary purposes, or they just want to see how it functions in their environment. And then as with I think most of even our personal home libraries, we tend to add more and more content and you need more and more storage. So then we can add storage to that pool. And instead of having to do a forklift upgrade where you replace or have to repurpose storage, you simply add to it with additional chassis and expand your storage pool.
Great. And another question for you, Tyler, too, is are fiber-connected clients the only option, or can you also use Gigi or 10 gigabyte clients?
Great question. Yes, so you can do all of the above. The new platform that Quantum has released, Excellis, enables you to use different multiple types of clients, whether they be fiber or various flavors of Ethernet. And you can also, without trying to get too deep in the weeds, since I'm not an engineer, Jordan will be able to answer this better, but you can do their distributed LAN clients on top of having directly connected fiber clients, meaning that for those that can't connect directly via fiber, you can do a reshare and just have Ethernet clients. So you can have kind of a mix of all flavors there.
Great. Thanks, Tyler. And Mitchell, are you still with me?
Yes, I am.
Great. What kind of hardware warranty does the system come with, and what are the support options?
I'll tell you what, I'll let Jordan answer that question for you, because we have a number of different options available to you, and depending on the configuration you go with, that will determine what your warranties and options are. So, Jordan, can you kind of give an answer for a base Pro Foundation solution? And this solution is a base system for a customer just getting started with us.
So we have some systems called our Pro Solutions that are packaged in a suite of storage in our workflow directors. The base level system called the Pro Foundation includes installation as well as 1 year of hardware support and software support, and includes a spares parts kit so that if anything does break, you already have parts online. And replenishment is next business day, but you can call in for phone support 24 hours a day. For the deeper level Pro Solutions that are a little larger in scale, those include 3 years of 24/7 phone support, again with next business day on parts and also with a spare parts kit. Alternatively, we have what we call the a la carte model, where you can just kind of pick and choose which particular components make the most sense for your environment. And we have 3 different models to support there. Bronze, which is 9x5, so your traditional business hours with next business day for parts replacement, as well as Gold, which is 24/7, 365, with both a next business day for parts as well as a 4-hour delivery window for parts. And so ultimately, it really depends on what the requirements of your business and availability is.
All right, great. Thanks, Jordan and Mitchell. Mr. Van Hoy, question came in. My IT group doesn't understand video and doesn't want to have anything to do with managing our editors' computers. How difficult is it to manage an Excellis?
It's a good question. Depending on the environment, it's not difficult. Once it's set up, it tends to just run. There are admin tasks, such as making sure you don't fill it up, and of course adding and deleting users. But the systems, for the most part, just run and are quite straightforward. Quantum also has great training programs, as does ASG, and in addition, we often act as the support entity for users in those situations where the IT groups don't want to work with these types of systems. They outsource to us on a very common basis, and then we become your front line of support, and they get rid of their headache.
Great. Thanks, Dave. With that, that's all of our questions we have for today. I want to thank Mitchell, Jordan, Dave, Van Hoy, and Tyler for your great presentations. You guys did a fantastic job. And I want to let our audience know that we are recording today's webinar, and we will be sending out a link to where you can view it on our website once we have that ready to go. So be looking for that too as well. And we're also going to do a raffle either later today or tomorrow. So we'll be in touch with our 2 winners by, I think, tomorrow or Monday at the latest, but it should be tomorrow. And we really appreciate everybody attending today's webinar. With that, that's a wrap, and we'll look forward to seeing you on our next webinar in the near future. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.